Hey everyone, so you've probably seen some cute AF pictures of some raccoons lately, and now you've been wondering, should I get a pet raccoon? Well, I'm here to give you a little insight on whether or not that actually is a good idea. The very first thing that you should do is make sure your state actually allows you to have a pet raccoon. Raccoons get such a bad rap because they're considered rabies vectors, so most states go ahead and ban them. However, there are select states where they actually allow you to have them as pets and you don't need any permits or to register them or anything like that. South Carolina just happened to be one of them. So make sure that your state allows them, because I've heard a lot of stories where people have rescued raccoons but it turned out to be illegal in their state, so they can't take them to the vet or anything like that. And so they either have to release them into the wild or they get caught with them and face fines. Going back to that vet thing, if your state does not allow you to have a pet raccoon, then there's no way you're going to get into a vet. And if you can't get into a vet, you're not going to get the shots that your raccoon needs, nor are you going to get it spayed or neutered. And getting it spayed or neutered is essential if you want a pleasant raccoon. Once they reach sexual maturity, they become hellacious and they can be very long-lived, so you're going to have to tolerate a raccoon that won't let you near it. So it's important to make sure that you can get those vet visits to get all the things that your animal needs. So the next biggest thing that you need to worry about is, do you actually have enough space for your pet raccoon? I built Tito a 5 foot tall by 5 foot wide and 2 feet deep cage, and he's about 4 months now and he's already outgrown it. So I just bought a whole bunch of like wood and stuff to make a brand new cage for him. It's going to be about 12 feet long, 7 feet high, and 4 feet deep. And so if you can't provide the space for him, it's not fair to him or you, because you have to be listening to him scream all the time. When they're in a cage for too long, they become restless and it makes them a little bit angrier than they normally would have been. So you need to make sure they have ample space in their cage, even if they're in there for only overnight. You need to be able to let them out more consistently the smaller the cage is. So I like to give them a backyard to run in. I make sure they have plenty of exercise. I take Tito on walks. I let him go swimming, and I figure out other things to keep him active. So you need to be able to stimulate him in ways that he would be stimulated in the wild. So you got to make sure he's doing things that he would be doing otherwise. Lastly, if you're going to get a pet raccoon, you better make sure you have a lot of patience. Tito, he tries to stick his hands in everything. One big thing that he does, he loves chewing up chargers. And so he'll go run to the outlet, pull out the charger, and start chewing on it. And every time I try to get to the charger before he does. One time I wasn't looking and he went running for it, and he pulled it off, but it didn't come off all the way the first time. And so when he stuck his fingers around it, he touched the metal part and it gave him a good shock. He hasn't really touched them after that, but that's just an example of what they do. Even if you tell them no, they still go after it. Like, it almost feels like they're trying to spite you. So you gotta make sure you have a lot of patience to deal with them. Also, when they get playing, they kind of can play rough, and they got a lot of sharp teeth and sharp claws, and so when they get all running around and stuff, they'll claw you, they'll bite you, and you just got to make sure you're willing to tolerate that. If you can handle these things and you're willing to put up with the kind of stuff raccoons throw at you, then they make awesome pets. I love Tito and I wouldn't give him up for anything. And so if you're actually serious about getting a pet raccoon, you need to make sure you do it in an ethically way. Don't take them from the wild. There are certain breeders out there, I've never heard of any, but apparently people sell raccoons, and they are bred specifically for pets. They aren't just taken from the wild. So make sure they're sourced ethically. Make sure you are able to provide for its needs, and that you're willing to deal with them for the next 15 years, because they have a long lifespan. So I'm not going to tell you don't get a pet raccoon or to get one. That's your choice. Just make sure it's done legally and humanely. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe.